In this video, you'll be learning about this topic.
So based on all that, I suspect you have a lot of the same narratives that I hold as dear as anybody else that talks on all these podcasts, which is the narrative is scarcity wins. If you can own something that's truly scarce, it's going to do really well in this environment just because of the expectation for how many more units central bankers are going to be adding into the system. So is there anything beyond that you can see from an investment standpoint, or just talk to us a little bit about your opinions on that and maybe even beyond that?
Well, the first thing I would say, and I've been saying this for over a decade now, almost 15 years now, is that everybody should own gold, right? I mean, I think it's just, to me, it's a no-brainer that you have to own some gold. And it doesn't mean you need to rush out now and sell everything you own, go put 30 or 40, 50% of your portfolio in gold, but you need to have some, right? And I think, having some kind of assets kind of outside the banking system, so to speak, or that aren't subject to the whims of the monetary authorities is a good thing. Now, but part of the issue is that, a lot of the way that people own gold is either through an ETF or a mutual fund, or they trade futures. And that's that's kind of exposure to the gold price, but it's not really gold itself, right? But, gold is a thing it's scarce, and it's always been in demand for 5,000 years. And so I think over the years ahead, as governments around the world increase the supply of their fiat currencies, that gold will rise. We kind of talked about Bitcoin a little bit on the phone the other day. I think everybody should own Bitcoin. I think, for some people, maybe, a higher allocation is appropriate. And I think for other people, higher allocation isn't appropriate. But I think if you can afford to own some, you should have some. Bitcoin is the potentially biggest asymmetric trade in history. At least it already has been. And it could be even from here. Right. And even as much as I like gold, I don't think gold has the same asymmetry as Bitcoin does. Now, what you won't like me to hear me say is I think Bitcoin could fall a lot too. Right. I'm not convinced that it's going to be the greatest asset in history, but I know that it has the potential to be. And so I think you got to own it. But, I think that there's some things that could go wrong with it. So I wouldn't tell somebody to sell everything you own and go out and put all your money into Bitcoin either. I think it has a place in a diversified portfolio, but not an all or nothing thing for me. The whole Bitcoin versus gold debate, I think is kind of silly. I think you can own both. There's no reason you have to choose between the two. If you do, I understand it, but you don't have to.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next podcast episode and new investing resources.
What are your takeaways and thoughts on this discussion? Let us know in the comments section below.